Hi and welcome back to the channel, the One More Book Podcast channel. This is Florence and I'm back today with a massive haul. This is like the biggest haul that I've ever done, I think, at once. But they're books that I've collected, and they're also books that I asked my sister. My sister came to visit for summer. They just left, and she brought me books because there are books that are unfortunately not available in Germany to purchase unless if you buy them on Amazon. And I really try to do my best not to order on Amazon. So I sent her a list of books and she went to like a really lovely bookshop in Nairobi that has a lot of revolutionary books. I'm currently in my social revolutionary phase, and they carry so many of those books. So I went online on their Instagram page and just wrote down the books that I wanted, and she went and she got all of them and even more. So here is the haul. Hope you like this video and hope that you subscribe, and I hope these books inspire you. Maybe you can find them in your library. Unfortunately for me, these are never available. Probably will never be available in my local library. That's why I have to haul them. But I'm also trying to build my own library, which I am open to share with people who I can trust with my books, which I think is really important. We need to share more, make things available just for everyone just across different groups. We need to share resources. And I really loved the haul by another YouTuber that I really love and follow, Starlight Reader. She did an amazing haul. I need to write down the books that she did. I will link her video below so you can watch it, but I loved her haul. So let me start. This first book, this is World Making After Empire, The Rise and Fall of Self-Determination by Adam Getachew. And this I ordered at my local bookshop, and I went for her talk. She did a talk here in Hamburg a few weeks ago at a museum. I will share maybe a clip of her, and I really enjoyed the lecture that she gave, where she talked a lot about her book. I believe she's a sociologist. Let me check. I believe she's a sociologist, a historian, and in this book she just challenges the conventional narrative of the anti-colonial movement and the decolonization movement that we are seeing going on at the moment. And she says that we cannot take over in our work in trying to decolonize our systems. We cannot take over what the empire left us, the British Empire, just all societies that were colonized. We cannot just take over the system that they left us and try to make it work for us. It takes a lot. It takes dismantling it and starting a new world order. And there's a lot, like the languages, the political systems. There's a lot that has been taken over that was part of the old empire. And this book just sharpens our sense of what is at stake if we don't do this searching and starting afresh. Just starting self-determination, like letting the old world order fall and starting a new one. So I really liked it. I liked her. I really loved her talk, and I knew I wanted to read more about it. So unfortunately, at the event, she didn't have copies of it in English, but she had copies of it in German. So this is the German version, which is not cute. But I got it because I wanted to have it signed. So she signed this, and then I ordered this online. Then I will come to the books are all mixed up, so I'll just go according to the one I pick up next. So next is a book that was part of the haul that my sister brought for me from Nuria Bookshops, bookstore, Nuria Bookstore in Nairobi, Kenya, if you're ever there. This is called Newell Rock Dhoudi Mag Ugenya by Hagai O Nuno. And this is, I'm Luo, I'm from the community called Luo in Kenya. And this is like a historian telling of the origin of one of the smaller like groups in our community. So like I would say the groupings happen according to the location or where you live. So this is like the story of like their history, and I'm really interested in knowing where my people are from. Because during history classes, we were given the minimum. So it's just, and unfortunately, my grandparents are not there anymore. So this is the history I need to learn. I have to get it from books. So I'm really grateful that such books exist, and I'm looking forward to reading it. It's in my local language, so it will be very interesting reading it. And there are also photos, which I really appreciate. Next is this, which is called William Shakespeare, Jasuba, Macbeth, Julius Caesar, and Othello by Miliki Ochola. And I believe this is like a retelling of Shakespeare, like a work of fiction where Shakespeare meets an African wisdom. And it says it's for readers who seek fresh perspective on Shakespeare's plays, get away into African thought system, and cross-cultural approaches to classic literature. So I thought it was an interesting take, and looking forward to reading this. This is also from Nuria. Another book that I got is this. I believe this is an erotic fiction. It's called Between Her Thighs a Nation, The Thrust for Justice. And it's also like political drama and feminist literature, When Pleasure Becomes Protest by Steve Biko Omondi. I saw the title and I thought, interesting, let me get. Another one with an interesting title is Don't Come in My Mouth, Poems That Rattled Uganda by Stella Nyanzi. And I believe she's Dr. Stella. She has a doctorate. Dr. Stella Nyanzi is an author, a poet, a political activist. She's from Uganda. And she lives in Germany at the moment. She was on asylum, political asylum, and now she lives now permanently here in Germany. And she really, she's an activist. I love following her. She's a fighter. She's funny. She's a woman who doesn't let society put her down. I love her confidence, her will to fight, and just how she moves in the world. She does not conform to what society tells her to be. So I really want to read this and just support her work. This is one that I ordered myself. I had like I had gift cards for a local bookshop, so I ordered a few books from my birthday. And this is Braiding Sweetgrass. I don't know if I've already shared this before, just in case I haven't. Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimara. I've had really good reviews about this book and how important it is. She's a botanist and she's a member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, who embraces the notion that plants and animals are our oldest teachers. So I love books that talk on the environment because it's just instrumental, especially now. And everyone says it is so important. So of course I have to get it. This is another one from Nuria Bookstore, Kenya's War of Independence, Mau Mau and its Legacy of Resistance to Colonialism and Imperialism, 1948 to 1990 by Shiraz Durrani. And this is just a historical nonfiction and just gives us more information that we were prevented to knowing about, especially about the Mau Mau, which was a rebel group that was very instrumental in the fight for independence for Kenya, and which the government and the British Empire really tried to get rid of and to shut up and just like make them, try to like give title them as terrorists. Well, on no, and in our historical books and learning, we were always told the Mau, like the negative side of the Mau Mau, and only to grow up and find out that we wouldn't even be an independent nation at 1963 if it wasn't for the Mau Mau. So definitely interested in reading this. Like, I'm relearning history again at 40. Next is The Struggle for Land and Justice in Kenya by Ambrina Manji. And this is also a very important book that just conveys the fractured politics of efforts to, like, by political leaders and people who are of the ruling class, how they are taking away land and taking away the access to land from everyone else. Why, despite the introduction of new land laws, is there like an increase of land grabbing in Kenya? Something that is so important, because it's something that is going on even now. Land grabbing is an issue that we fight, our parents fought, our great grandparents fought. So just trying to find out why this is still happening. Kifo Kisimani by Kithaka Wamberia. This is in Swahili. This was a set book in high school. I think after I left high school, it came much later. And it's a play in Swahili, and I'm interested in just reading it. I haven't read a play in years. And usually such plays, the books that we read or we used in school had a political undertone. So I'm interested in finding out what was going on in this. They're like a part of like a political commentary or social commentary that is being instilled in young people. And next is A Certain Amount of Madness, The Life, Politics and Legacies of Thomas Sankara, edited by Amber Murray. And this is, Thomas Sankara, as we all know, was one of the most important anti-imperialist leaders of the late 20th century. And his declaration and the fight for social and political change is something that is still being studied about and is inspiring the current string of leaders in across Africa and in the diaspora. And this book just explores his political philosophies and legacies and their relevance to the world that we are living in today. I couldn't find this online, that's why I got it from Kenya. So important. Another book that I'm deep in at the moment, this is Guerrilla Incursions into the Capitalist Mindset, Essays with Focus on Kenya by Shiraz Durrani. I already showed you a book by him before. He's a Kenyan historian of Indian descent, and in this book he collects different essays about very different topics, pre-independence and post-independence. So important histories that we never learned of in school. There's one that I read recently, which I just finished, about the history of one of the oldest libraries in Kenya, in Nairobi. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist now, but just the history of and how important this library was, because it was one of the first libraries that allowed people of different races to go into. And because of politics and just mismanagement, the library doesn't exist anymore. It's just so sad, because so much that was in there. It was a memoriam built to celebrate a man called Desai. He was one of the founding fathers, one of the leaders who fought for the independence of Kenya. Did so much for the country, and now his memoriam is gone, just like that. And I wouldn't even have known about him, if I hadn't picked this up. so sad. Next is another book about the Luo community, Nyakach, the last born of the Luo nation, by Charles Ananga Kokolo. This is also delves into our history, our origin, the origin of the Luo community, especially in the area called Nyakach. That's where I'm from. So I didn't even know that he was the last born of the Luo nation. So now I am intrigued. The Gusii Misiri, Migration, Rainmaking, Shrines, and Modern Divination by Charles Intabo Tinega. In Kenya, we have over 42 smaller communities and we speak different languages. And the Kisii, they're called the Gusii community, one of the communities. So this book is about them, how their migration, their social and cultural activities, just really how they lived and their history. So I want to learn more about the different communities and not always just the big communities. It's also good to learn more about all the different communities that are in Kenya. So looking forward to reading this too. This is also one about the Luo community, but what's funny is it's called The Religion of the Central Luo by Okot Pibitek. Okot Pibitek is one of the most renowned authors and historians. He's actually from Uganda. So the Luo community, it is said that we migrated from Sudan, passed through Uganda, and we moved into Kenya. Yeah, so we have members of our community in different countries, but they have different names for their communities. And Okot Pibitek is Ugandan, and he wrote about the history of the Central Luo. So they're called the Central Luo. We are called the River Lake Nilotes. I don't know. That's why I need to read, because just to know where my people came from and just how we migrated. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. This is a very old book. Was this was first published in 1971. Next is Histories of the Hanged, Britain's Dirty War in Kenya and the End of the Empire by David Anderson. So in this book, we get to learn more about how things changed, after the end of the Second World War, and Britain was thinking that now they are going to even build their empire more and more. But then things changed because now there was an uprising, the rise of nationalism that led to the fight for independence, and it changed so much. But we get to see about the violence that was used by the British in the fight against this movement, the Mau Mau rebellion, the killings, the atrocities that happened, people who were put in detention camps, things that without going on trials, things that we never learn about. So this book is just a shocking true story of Britain's first war on what they call the terror. And next is called African Markets and the Ubuntu Business Model, a perspective on economic informality in Nairobi by Mary Njeri Kinyanjui. I would say for me, I was interested in this book because I'm an entrepreneur and I really want to know how, because usually when people talk about entrepreneurship, it's spoken, especially in Kenya, it's spoken of as if it's something new, and it's not. It's something that we've been doing for centuries. We just never defined it as entrepreneurship. So I'm interested in just knowing how the entrepreneurship and the business model works, the ethics and the values that really underpin the work of traders and artisans, especially in Nairobi. And it has photos, which I really appreciate. Next is The Betrayal of the Mau Mau Freedom Fighters by Gitu Wakahengeri. This is also a book about the Mau Mau freedom fighters who really led this rebellion against the British Empire in the fight for independence. This is one of the leaders of the Mau Mau rebellion, and so he's telling us just about the fight. He was detained for years. I believe he wrote this while he was in jail, and for over 7 years he was in prison. So this is like history. He's telling us about the history that we never learned of in school. So important. Next, I have these 4 books. These I got because they are part of what was called the Pacesetters series. So the Pacesetters series were like a collection of short stories that we used to read when we were kids. I remember going to our a local library in Kisumu, and we used to only have books by authors like Enid Blyton, and we couldn't relate. We just unfortunately could not relate to what they were writing. You know, blonde kids with blonde and blue eyes and or brown eyes. We couldn't relate. So I don't know, in the 90s, that's when we started seeing books by African authors. And they were just like, I would say they had like this moral background, like, yeah, moral story behind each book. And back then, it was all we had. It was like when you're thirsty, you were like, it quenched our thirst to read books with characters that we saw ourselves in. And of course, I think I got this just for the sake of nostalgia. So I got this, Thorns of Life. Then I got this. This is a different series. This is called The Tales of Wamugumo. So actually, I think it's just these three, sorry. Operation Rhino and The Lost Generation. So these three are part of the Pacesetters series. So they're under, it's called the Moran Pals. So this is just for nostalgia. I've read Operation Rhino, and I find it so ridiculous right now. When I was reading it, I was just like, oh my God, how did I enjoy this as a kid? But I was thirsty for books that I could see myself into. So I'm really, really, I'm happy to have them. I don't know if I would recommend them, but it's just nice to have like a piece of my childhood back with me. And I'm just surprised, like the obsession, because this one is about a young man, and then there's a group of robbers, and there's a police chase, and it feels, like a really, really terribly written screenplay for like a really terrible crime series, But I think if I was reading it when I was young, that I would have loved it, because these were the things we used to write in our compositions in English literature and all that. So I'll read the other ones too. It's just interesting and nostalgic. So I'm just happy to have them in my collection. Then next is this, The Tales of Wamugumo by Peter Ngibuni Kuguru. So this is like, Wamugumo was one of the most famous storytellers among the Kikuyu community. So the Kikuyu is also one of the biggest communities in Kenya, and his life became a legend because I think he used to turn himself into a hare. This is a hare. Is it? Yeah, it's called a hare. It's not a rabbit. It's a hare. I think something with animals, and so I just wanted to read it again to remind myself of the childhood stories. And next, I have these two, In the House of the Interpreter and Dreams in a Time of War. Both of them are by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Ngugi wa Thiong'o was, unfortunately, he passed away just a couple of months ago. He was one of Kenyan's most renowned, I would say Africa's most renowned authors. We all appreciated him and acknowledge his fight against colonialism, his use of poetry, his use of writing, creative writing, in fighting against, of course, first of all, the British Empire, and then after the ruling class who took over the ruling of the country and were just mismanaging the funds of the country and corrupt and violent towards anyone who said anything bad about them. He really used when you say like some activists use their pens as weapons, he did that. And I would just love to have a collection of his books. I've read one of his other books, which was also like a short memoir about his life in Makerere University, one of Africa's most renowned universities in Uganda. And I love that. So I just want to read most or all of his books while I'm still here. This I just got because of the cover. I think it's like a comic. Yeah, it's a comic book about Syokimau, the oracle, which is like Shuja stories. Shuja means hero stories. Hero. So heroic hero stories about the different communities in Kenya. So Syokimau is one of them. And Syokimau is said to be the greatest Kamba prophetess that ever lived. So Kamba is also one of the communities in Kenya. And she prophesied the coming of the invaders and the building of the railway line with unmatched accuracy. So really, really looking forward to reading this. Look at the photos. I love that. Next is this. This is Diary of the Miaha, a memoir, and by Vera Omwocha Dinda. And Miaha is a word in Luo that means a woman who's recently married. So this is like, I believe, a memoir of Vera Omwocha as she's newly married. So she's trying to bring together her understanding of the love of God and of her husband, and just trying to fix the puzzles to make her understand who she is, where she is in life, and why she is the way she is. So she's trying to find healing, heal the child in her, and also just trying to find peace. I thought let me also pick this up. Next is We've Been Here, Stories of Self-Discovery and Belonging, compiled by Kevin Mwashiro, Peter Irungu, and Nguru Karugu. And this is just a collection of stories by LGBTQ plus Kenyans whose lives have not only been celebrated, but they are trying to make themselves be seen in the community. So it's an acknowledgement of just their journey of self-discovery, discovering love like no other. And it just shows us the crossroads that they find themselves on, invisibility of them and their community, the vulnerability, transfiguration, self-redemption, and just self-discovery as they're trying to live life according to their own rules. A tribute and a celebration to a history about Kenyan queerness. This is Riambel by Priya Hine, and I just got this because it's by I believe she was born in Mauritius, the author. So I haven't read, or I don't have any book by a Mauritius author. That's why I decided to get this. I don't even know anything about it, but I just saw the cover and then found out that she's Mauritian, and said I need to have this. And this is Not Yet Uhuru, an autobiography by Oginga Odinga. And Oginga Odinga was one of Kenya's founding fathers. He was really instrumental in the fight for independence. And later the second revolution, the second revolution that happened in Kenya, which was fight for a multi-party system in Kenya. And what we know about him is, or what I know about him is what was in history books and in media when I was growing up. So it's just good to read his words, his story in his own words. A very inspiring person. Yeah, he was a very critical. He criticized things that he saw were not okay, and I think that's why his story needs to be read, or by me. This I got using my gift card as well. They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us. This is by Hanif Abdurakib, and it's a collection of essays that uses music and culture as a lens through which we view our world. Those are the words that I used to describe it in a way that we are able to understand more about ourselves and about the times that we are living in. Essays are usually not my go-to, but most nonfiction books end up being essays. So yeah, I want to read this. It came very highly recommended. A book that I bought just because of the cover is this, The Strangers by Eko Eshun. Are you also like me? Are there books that you have bought just because of the cover? For me, when the cover is a piece of art like this, I will buy it. But also the book is about 5 extraordinary black men and the worlds that made them. It's by Eko Eshun. I bought it when we went to Belgium. We went to Brussels during the summer break, and we visited the African Museum, and they had a small bookshop, and I saw this and had to pick it up. And the 5 black men that are mentioned in the book are Ira Aldrich, who I don't know about, Matthew Henson, of course, Franz Fanon, Malcolm X, and Justine Fasham. So I'm looking forward to knowing about these men. Another book that I picked up with my gift card was Disability Visibility, 5 first-person stories from the 21st century, edited by Alice Wong. Alice Wong is a differently abled author, and I follow a TikToker who is also differently abled, and she recommended this book. If you're looking for writing or works by people who are differently able, she recommended this, and I always recommend this when someone asks me, and I've not read it, so I had to get it. 5 stories about people who are living with a disability or who are differently abled in the US. So it's so important to give them a voice and listen to them and learn from them. Next is the book that I'm currently immersed in. This is a history of the world in 6 plagues by Edna Bonhomme, How Contagion, Class, and Captivity Shaped Us from Cholera to COVID-19. I love this book. As you can see how well tabbed it is. I'm halfway done. I want to finish it tonight, I hope. And it is an expansive portrait of how colonialism and confinement have influenced our understanding of illness and humanity. I love the chapters where she talks about Robert Koch, who, as we were going through COVID-19 in Germany, we were always waking up in the morning and tuning in to what Robert Koch Institute used the empire, the German colonization, to go to Africa to expand his laboratory. He was a scientist, but he felt like he wanted to expand his laboratory. So, of course, he used that as an excuse to move to Tanzania and carry out his experiments on Black people, on Africans, without their permission, confining them. These were some of the first concentration lagers. So much history, but important, especially when it comes to contagious diseases. And also just reading about Virginia Woolf. I know about her as a feminist writer. I did not know about her struggle with illness, both mental and physical, and how writing, she used writing as like not a pastime, but it helped her pass the time as she was lying in bed sick. So a lot of history in this. I'm enjoying reading it. Last but not least is this heavy book. This is a coffee table book. I love coffee table books. I collect them and I peruse through them during late nights when I'm relaxing on my sofa with a cup of tea. I usually go through them. And this is about Benga music, Shades of Benga. Benga is a music genre in Kenya, I would say in East Africa. And it's the story of popular music in Kenya, 1946 to 2016, by Curated Music. I love this book. So much history about music with really, really beautiful pictures and so much to learn from. And so much history that could have gotten lost, but I'm so happy that it's been collected and I have the collection. So that was my haul, my massive haul of the year. I feel like I really don't need to justify myself for this haul because these are books that I do not think I would have access to here in Germany. Our libraries are just not stocked well enough, especially with books that are in English. And I just want to have books that I want to read. It just makes me happy. And these are not books that you see the algorithm doesn't bring to you. So I hope that you watching me, I have introduced them to you. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know which books you've bought recently or you've read recently or which you are interested in getting, and any with beautiful covers. Thank you so much.